Hi everyone, hope everyone's well. Just want to do a quick video. I went to Motorcycle Live yesterday. I did take James, a videographer, and we just putting together some footage of bikes we sat on and things like that. So that'll hopefully go up tomorrow or something. But I just wanted to do a few thoughts. Three things I saw, three observations from yesterday. First of all, motorcycling, I think, is the age of motorcycling is getting older. You know, it's hard to ignore the fact that most people there, guys who are a little bit getting a bit older, and I think it's an observation you could have made for the last few years, but you do seem to notice it more and more, and it always makes you wonder where the new age of motorcycling is going to come from. And I think we discussed this with James on the way back in the van. In the 80s, 90s, there was motorcycling seemed such a popular pursuit, and it's obviously fueled the market that we're seeing now and the number of riders we're seeing now. But where are the new riders? On the road, I certainly see plenty of L-platers commuting to and from work and things. But why do we get them to the show? How do we involve them with the community of motorcycling? And I think that's something very difficult. And I think it's what some manufacturers are trying to do. But as an industry and as a pursuit, I think motorcycling has to do more. I'm not sure how it does more, because without new blood, it's not going to happen, is it? I mean, we're not in 10 years' time. At least a third of that audience is probably going to be, pushing up daisies and not going to be there. So, where's the other third going to come from? And I think it's a real test for the motorcycling industry to find new blood. And I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if youngsters and people with teenage kids and 20-year-old kids will probably know better. Are kids interested in motorcycling? And for what reasons are they not? Is it the price? Is it the coolness factor? Have they got other interests that maybe kids or teenagers in the 80s and 90s didn't have? But it's a real topic to try and resolve. Otherwise, I don't see like a mass motorcycling market going forward. And that kind of ties into the second observation, which was just the pursuit of electrification of motorcycling. Like, obviously there's the established brands still running petrol engine bikes, that's very exciting, but the NEC Motorcycle Live, would look very empty if it wasn't for this new influx of, I guess there are Chinese companies rebranded, offering all sorts of 30 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour electric motorcycles. To me, the stands seem very quiet. To me, they didn't seem any interest in them at all, which is worrying, because we are going to get pushed towards electrification, and currently there's no interest in electric bikes, or very little. It's very niche. So if we've got a dying age of motorcyclists and the emergence of electrification of motorcycling, which doesn't capture the imagination of the current fleet of motorcyclists, who is going to be interested in the electric motorcycle? And I just don't see it. I just don't see that transference or that transfer of riders from petrol to electric. I mean, personally, I've ridden a Livewire Harley Davidson, and I was bored. It's fast. It's very fast, very strong power, and it's exciting for about 5 minutes. After that, it's boring. For me anyway, it's boring. There's no engagement with the machine, and obviously motorcycling is far more than performance. It's the engagement with moving parts and the perfection of dealing with those moving parts, be it clutch action or braking and power and gear shifting and things like that. There's so much more to motorcycling, which makes it enjoyable rather than just getting somewhere. And all electric motorcycles seem to do is just get you there. It becomes a form of transport, but it's not motorcycling. Motorcycling is far more to me. Two things: we've got an aging population and the emergence of electric, which I don't see a market for. Where are they going to get these guys to ride these electric bikes from? Because if I'm forced to ride an electric motorcycle, I probably won't ride one, and I'll probably stop motorcycling. And that's how I see it. And I'm not saying I would speak for everyone, but I think looking at the show demographic yesterday and the levels of interest on each of the different stands, I can see there's a lot of people who think like that as well. So those two things going hand in hand. And thirdly, the emergence of China and Chinese manufacturing, which obviously from a political point of view is very sensitive. I understand why people don't want to buy Chinese products or support, which in hand supports Chinese policy and government. But what you see yesterday is a real stale offering by the established brands to a large extent. Represented, I would say, by the Transalp, the new Honda Transalp, which is getting a lot of fanfare and things, but it's ultimately a very stale, safe, bland, boring. It's going to be a good bike. It's going to be reliable. It's going to tick a lot of boxes. It's going to sell well. But is it exciting? Is it an advancement on the bikes that we're building in the 80s, in the 90s? Oh, I'd say it's almost a dip in every way. There's no step forward. And somebody commented on a Facebook post I put up, like, where is the innovation? Where is the excitement? Where is the sense that you get a manufacturer building a bike out of pure joy for the act of motorcycling, instead of just trying to tick the box of, it's got to come in at this price point and we've got to, make it like this, and we've got to put non-adjustable suspension on and tube tires and things like that. You get the sense that the Japanese are just leaving a massive open goal for the Chinese manufacturers to step into and fill. I don't think they've got their head around the act of branding and marketing yet. But opposite the Transalp was the Benelli TRK 800, which you could sense had been styled by somebody. I can't say the styling was perfect, but somebody had got a vision of a motorcycle and they'd run with it, and they'd been allowed to run with it, and it got good suspension and it got tubeless tyres, and it looked like somebody had injected some passion into the design of a motorcycle. Will it sell? Who knows? Will it be any good? The Moto Morini I have now, which is Chinese built, is a good bike. You can't fault it as a bike. And so the Chinese, as much as we might not want to support them politically, they have and with the Raiju, as anybody saw the Raiju Adventura with the twin tank 500cc bike, it's innovation coming through from China, which we never expected in a million years. We expected bland copying. They've done that. They've bland copied bikes very well now, but they're starting to innovate. And what the industry needs more than ever is innovation. And we didn't see that yesterday from any of the established brands. And I think that's where maybe, God heaven forbid, China is a salvation. China becomes a saviour of motorcycling, or at least gives us something to get excited about. Whether people will buy it, whether people will welcome that salvation is a different matter. But we need the Chinese to say to the Japanese and to the Europeans, motorcycling doesn't have to be dreary and stale, which is kind of what you guys are currently offering. Not all bikes are stale, but you just look at, as I say, the innovation. You looked at Honda with that DAX 125 and you thought, my God, that is just... You've got a concept that was great in the 70s or whenever when the DAX came out, and now you've just got this engine and you've given it a bit of styling, and you've retrofitted it with all these, to make it look like an old bike. But it's a budget bike, but you've got a price point here. There's no innovation. There's no attempt to create a new legacy or new brand, just to sort of rape the image of the old one and the name of the old one. And I don't think it's good enough. As a motorcyclist who's got loads of Hondas, I expect more from Honda. And if I don't get it from Honda, Raiju, Benelli, who else? CF Moto, they're all coming through. So we'll see what happens going forward. But as a motorcyclist, I enjoyed yesterday's show. I love sitting on bikes and seeing bikes and finding fault or finding joy in different bikes. But the three observations, aging motorcycling population, how do we fix that? The move to electrification, how do we get people interested in that? How do we make that exciting? I'm not sure you can, but let's wait and see. The worst one was the Zero, the DSX, £29,000 for a bike with an 85-mile motorway range. If you were trying to tell a joke with statistics and specs, that would be the ultimate. You couldn't make a joke better than that. 30 grand near enough to do 85 miles. That defies logic. We'll see. What I want to see is a CT125 with an electric engine that does 200 miles. Offer me that and I'll buy it. And then that ultimately leads on to the Chinese. Will the Chinese be the ones to next year have a usable little versatile bike with a 200-mile electric range? And if it's there, I'll sit on it and might even buy one. So that's it. Motorcycle Live, motorcycling in general. Put the video up with footage from the show with different bikes and things like that. If you've been to the show, in the comments put what did you like, what did you sit on, what did you not like, what did you think. All right, take it easy. Cheers, guys. Bye.